Welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 Hit Games 2 CD collection. You can find a link in the video description containing the entire directory structure of this archive. It's week 80, and these are the games our diggers have for us today. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply head on over to the Patreon page linked in the video description. Now without further ado, let's begin. First up, we have a team dig from Jarmo Ranta and Matthew Belshin. DOSGAMES /arcade2/LANDSLID. Probably some kind of game called LANDSLID, I'm going to take it. Readme.doc, kind of big. Let's just run it, see what happens. LANDSLID version 1.0 with a shareware delay. Okay. If you like this program, continue to use it. Please register your copy. And apparently made by someone named Tim P. Von Payne. Payne? Probably. Okay, so press any key to begin. LANDSLID, created and programmed by Tim P. Von Payne. It's making a lot of noise right now. Select number of human players. I'm gonna go 1. Select number of computer challengers. You know what, let's go 3. I am not like that. That's... Wait, what? Okay, so... It doesn't matter what the state of your caps lock is. It's capital by default, but if you hold shift, it makes a small letter. So the shift key is actually acting the opposite of what it should, even though it's ignoring the caps lock state. Okay, hit any key to begin the campaign. Oh. Okay, so just looking at this right now, we can immediately assume that this is some kind of weird election simulation game of some sort. I wouldn't exactly call this an arcade game, but anywho, Midwestern states remaining: Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Missouri, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa. I don't know how many people are familiar with the US electoral system, but given the fact that the United States generally only has like 2 parties vying for power, which they're 2 really big parties, so that's why there's almost never a third party candidate. But the thing is, many of the states are what's referred to as swing states, as they tend to vote one way or the other depending on various circumstances, whereas all the other states tend to almost always vote for one of the big parties and the others vote for the other big party. So yeah, that's a very brief lesson in US politics from a Canadian. Let me see here. Enter bid. I don't know. So do I actually have to type in, like, if I say... This program makes very obnoxious noises. So apparently I got some popular votes, but I didn't get any electoral votes? I don't know what happened. And apparently computer 1 just received some stuff. Your opponent's family has endorsed you. There's an election in the South. So what if I go, say, South Carolina? I don't know what's going on here. Keep smiling, Computer 2, because you look homicidal when you frown. And yet that somehow gets him 21,000 popular votes. And now it's telling Computer 3 to lose £1.50. What is with this game? Like, all I'm doing is hitting the enter key and it just sort of goes forwards. And I don't even know what those numbers beside them mean. Like, is that... Jeez. All this thing is doing is just making a lot of beeping noises, and I don't get it. I don't get what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, it says, please enter your bid. Okay, I'm gonna go read the instructions. Normally I can figure this kind of stuff out, but I don't get what's going on here. Okay, so if I'm reading the instructions right, what's happening here is that whenever there's an election, you have to bid a certain number of popular votes. And if you bid it doesn't tell you what state you're going to win. Rather, it's showing you which states are up for election, and one of them is going to be the one you win the electoral votes for. So right now I have 101,000 popular votes, which means if I bid 37,000, I'm going to beat any of the other votes for sure, any of the other computer players for sure. And so now it's saying that I won Utah's 5 electoral votes because Utah was the one that was up for grabs, but the game doesn't tell you that. It only tells you what potential states you could have been winning. And then all of the stuff that happens on turns that aren't elections are just totally random. So again, we have another election going on here. So, given the fact that so many of these states have a lot of electoral votes, it kind of makes sense to have like a very high bid here. So, yeah, so we just got Iowa there. Now, of course, I'm losing popular votes as a result of this. So, like, right now, I pretty much can't beat anyone. But one of the things that was confusing about this is that if you enter something that isn't valid, the game just assumes it's a 0 vote. So when I was putting in, like, Texas, for instance, that counted as a 0. So the game doesn't really give you a lot of feedback on if you're doing things right or wrong, which doesn't help. Computer 1 just put a whole ton of their popular votes into winning 1 electoral vote. Whoops, and I accidentally hit the enter key, so it's actually gonna... yeah. So one of the annoying things that's happening is that it's buffering your key presses, so if you accidentally hit the enter key or something more times than you're supposed to, it just bypasses the elections, because you just entered through them. So something I was reading in the documentation is that this was based on a board game of some kind, but... so far, my experience here is that this is just totally a luck box. There's like no skill here. So the more I'm playing this, the more I'm noticing there is a small amount of strategy, but not a lot. It basically really just comes down to not putting in huge bids when there's not much to win, but going for the huge bids when there is a potential for getting some really big numbers, or when the numbers are pretty good to go for. And the other thing I've noticed, too, is that the computer never bids all of their popular votes on anything. So you can basically choose a number that's almost up to the most that the biggest computer has. Like, right now it's computer 3 with 252,000. Well, he's never going to bid 252,000 no matter what. So, at least that's what I'm noticing so far. So it looks as though the amount of states remaining is almost gone, so I'm kind of wondering if we're reaching the end of the game here. Okay! I just soft-locked the... oh, no, wait, there it goes. I thought I soft-locked the game for a moment there, but apparently it is... well, it had to do some math or something. So apparently I won that one, somehow. This game makes so many obnoxious noises. Okay, so that was Landslide. That was ridiculously stupid. Not just the... now what's it doing? Game? Hello? Oh, it quit back to DOS. I had to type in CLS and hit enter, but because it made it totally black. So that was Landslide. That was, kind of painful, just because of the sheer amount of PC speaker sound effects and everything. That was, I mean, I know it was only a $6 or $7 game, and that's not really that much, considering what games went for back when this was made, but there's no mute option. You can't turn the sound effects off. I would say if it wasn't for the sound effects, this game would be a lot more playable. But because of how obnoxious those sound effects is, and because there's no way to turn it off, I just can't see anyone enjoying this. Next up from Paul Scheer, we have WINGAMES /newin2 /WTAROT. Probably something called WinTarot or something like that. It's probably going to be like some sort of tarot card program. We got a doc file. Can't see how big it is. Or no, wait, it says right there, 7 kilobytes. Let's just try running it. Okay, so not maximizable. So all we really have here is just a bunch of buttons. So where's the About screen? If you enjoy this program, please make a donation to the Center of Aid to Displaced Persons to help CADP shelter and educate unaccompanied Vietnamese refugee children in the Philippines. I can't say I've ever seen a program say to donate to something instead of actually giving the creator money. But, like, was this made by this Hong Bang Inc. or whatever? Oh, well, we actually have a name here. This was made by Anthony Nagian. Anthony Nagian. This program in no way endorses any belief in the occult and is intended for amusement only. This program may be freely distributed without cost, provided that it is not changed in any way. Okay, so it is a freeware program. But that's just weird that the About wants... Because there's no mention of the author in the About here, and there's no mention of that company in the version info. That's so weird. Okay, well, let's reshuffle. Do you want a new spread? Sure. So, it would help if it told us, like, what order we should be doing this in. Because I'm pretty sure with tarot readings, there's a certain... Depending on the kind of board layout you're using, depends on what order you should be drawing the cards in. Well, let's just see what we got here. Oh, we do actually have pictures for the cards. Oh, and it's tracking reversed. You don't see a lot of tarot programs do that properly. Because, from what I understand with tarot cards, because I actually do have a tarot card deck, and I have actually tried to do tarot readings before in the past, believe it or not. I'm actually not terrible at it, but just like with anything like that, there's really a lot of, interpretation involved, so you usually only get vague ideas of things. It's not really meant to be like, do this for your life to succeed or stuff with something like that. Although some people, it can be taken that way, but you're not really supposed to. But in this case, it's saying our goal is a reversed 3 of Pentacles, which is saying, beware of neglecting your professional life. Mediocrity and a lack of skill are indicated by this card. Guard against pettiness and weakness. So apparently, in order to reach my goals, I have to ensure that I'm not neglecting my professional life. Well, that's why I'm doing Shovelware diggers, isn't it? So for the past, I have the 2 of Swords. There is a choice indicated between 2 options, both undesirable, for this is the card of the dilemma. Remember that the choice to do nothing can sometimes be a wise one and is a decision within itself. Do not waste energy fretting over the decision, because direction is needed, even if only to say one will not choose sides. So given the fact that this is on the past, it's sort of indicating that I made some terrible decision in the past that I should probably forget about. As I said, it's all really vague interpretive stuff when you're doing these kinds of things. Because, like, I mean, that could literally apply to, like, a million decisions I've made in my life. Oh, but let's see. Recent past. A reversed Tower card. One gains what one wishes, but only at a great cost. Be prepared for difficulties and hardships on the path to the goal. The way can be unpleasant and oppressive. So it's kind of suggesting that recent events may have been really difficult for me, but may have been necessary at the same time. Again, it's very, very vague stuff when you think about it. Let's take a look at my obstacle. The King of Cups. He is kind and considerate man, creative, intelligent, and willing to take responsibility. This card indicates creativeness, generosity, equity, and an interest in the arts and religion. This card may also indicate a man with light brown and hazel eyes. Well, that's being a little too specific. But it kind of suggests that my obstacle is something that's going to be pliable in a sense. Something that I should be able to work with or work around. And again, I can think of like a few things that could apply to. So that's what it comes down to with tarot readings, is you're trying to give people It's not really about predicting the future or telling people what they need to do. Rather, it's more about enlightening them into ways of thinking about their situation by applying these kinds of sort of wisdom to what they're thinking about, which in turn gives them ideas on how to approach the future. That's really what it comes down to. And now, apparently myself, I am the Empress. She is the mother representing fertility, creation, and birth. Now is the time for new ideas and initiative. Begin work on what you want, for what you need will be provided. Success and good fortune are indicated, as well as happy family relationships, a marriage or a birth, luxury, creativity, and contentment. So it's basically saying that myself, am sort of going towards this goal, beginning new ideas, dealing with things happening that should put me into a better situation. Like, I mean, that's obviously what somebody's going to strive towards. But now imagine if this was like reversed or something. In fact, let's actually do that. Let's actually reshuffle. I'm just going to demonstrate how this can change. I'm going to reshuffle again. So yeah, so now I've got, in terms of me right here, I've reshuffled a few times. So I've got a 3 of Wands here for myself. An established professional or experienced person becomes an ally or partner in some venture. The resulting friendship and cooperation leads to a successful enterprise. So it's kind of suggesting that some of my fortune in the future is probably going to come from doing work with other people. That's like basic humanity right there. Or now I've pulled up another reshuffling, and now it's saying that I'm 7 of Cups. Take a good, realistic look at the situation, for this card warns of delusions and false hopes. Things are not what you imagine them to be, and you would be better served by seeing things for what they are, not what they appear to be. So it's kind of suggesting that I myself, am sort of looking at things with the wrong perspective and need to sort of get a new understanding of certain things that are happening within myself. Again, you could apply this to so many different things. So yeah, that was WinTarot, or just tarot according to this. Again, this is a freeware program, and given the fact that it does do the reverses, it's kind of interesting that it's showing all these different buttons. So you could potentially do like a reading based on which of these are a part of the spread you're trying to go for. It's only really offering this sort of layout. So it would be nice if the program did have other layouts that you could use, but most of these are present in almost any layout you could think of. So it kind of makes sense. You could kind of like have your own little layout aside and then use these buttons. But really what it comes down to with this sort of thing is this is more like a convenience program in a sense. You can actually browse the different cards. It doesn't show you them immediately, but you can click on one and it will actually give you both meanings. I mean, it does what it sets out to do. It's certainly a lot faster than doing an actual tarot card reading, but then you're missing the whole shuffling with your hands thing, and I don't know. I think if you're going to do a tarot reading, it'd be a lot more fun to use real tarot cards in a program like this, but this program works. And it has really good descriptions for everything. So, for a freeware tarot program, it's not bad. And our last dig for today comes from Michael Madsen, who's dug up DOSGAMES /arcade2 /_011 Havo? I'm guessing version 11 of something called Havoc, or maybe... Havoc 11. That's probably what it is. We got a file ID.diz though, so let's quickly type that out. Electron Havoc arcade game. Needs VGA. Shoot opponent through deflecting gravity fields. For 1 or 2 players. Okay. So, Havoc 11. Electron Havoc by John Schramko? Something like that. Press any key to continue. You and your opponent have been kidnapped and shrunk by the evil Dr. Quark, and forced to fight in a molecular arena for his perverse amusement. It's amazing how many games start with a story like that. Your only weapon is, what else? An electron gun. Use the left mouse button to set to charge velocity and to change... That's kind of weird. to set the charge velocity and to change your location. Use fire when ready. You can select between infinite space, ricochet, and edge detonate modes, as well as toggling sound. A missile too far out in the ozone will automatically self-destruct. Sounds easy? Not with those deflecting green protons. Okay, so... well, that's interesting. The mouse is actually limited to this box here. So let's see. So it's interesting that you set the velocity... Wait, you can't set, like... Well, that's weird. Velocity has a minimum of 100. Whoa. So you don't actually hold these, you click them once to start, and then push the middle thing here to stop it moving. So... something like this? Whoa. That was weird. Now, it's said for 1 or 2 players, but I've got second player control here, so, how do I... Well, escape key quits, obviously. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything to activate a 1-player mode. And there wasn't exactly any documentation, either. So maybe this is a 2-player only game. Well, let's see if we can actually hit one of the other ships. Whoa, that just went completely nowhere. Ooh, that was close. Red guy almost got hit there. Yeah, red guy's dead. Blue wins! Blue score 1 out of 1, red score 0 out of 1. Click right mouse button to continue. So let's see what these other things are like edge detonate. I wonder what that does. Apparently not much. What about ricochet? Oh, jeez. Ricochet means you better not aim too badly. And blue hit the red guy again. So yeah, this is a very basic game from the looks of it. I don't know how well you'd be able to... Like, it's basically trial and error. Like, you think about a game like Scorched Earth. This is kind of like that, except not with a lot of variety going on. And instead dealing with these sort of gravity mechanics. That was a cool effect. It just sort of spiraled into it there. Almost put it in orbit. Well, anyways, this is kind of a gigantic mess right now, so I think I'm just going to call it here. So, that was Havoc, or Electron Havoc. It's a very basic game. I don't know if it's worth $10, but definitely... Well, first of all, it's the file ID.diz was saying that this was a 1 or 2 player game, but it's clearly a 2 player only game. I would imagine if you had 2 people playing, this would probably be a little more entertaining, but there really isn't a lot to it. This is kind of like playing Scorched Earth, but with much more basic control and everything, and no extra weapons or anything either. So, I don't know if it's worth $10, but it's certainly, you could certainly do worse.